Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the governing board. All rise for the, oh, no, wait. We have Deer Valley High School Air Force ROTC Color Guard will do our pledge. Gentlemen? Presentation of the colors. Oh, sorry, color guard. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Roll call, all board members are present. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt the agenda with a change of moving item 9B to between item 4 and 5.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 So with that, we'll move directly to item 9B. It's approve a resolution. Mr. Bear, do you have a motion? I'll summarize. It's approve a resolution authorizing incorporation of Valley Schools Insurance Trust, Valley Schools Employees Benefits Trust, Valley Schools Workman's Comp Pool, and Valley Schools Management Group as separate nonprofit corporations, and authorizing the taking of all necessary steps as set forth in the resolution for the accomplishment of such ends or related to the accomplishment of such ends. That is the motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, with that, do we have any questions, comments? Jim, could you just let the public know exactly what's going on here? So,
President Gregoire, members of the board, Dr. Weitenheimer, I thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. This has been something that's been considered for some time. This is essentially changing the legal structure of the Valley Schools organizations, plural, that would convert them from the current formation via the intergovernmental agreement we have with the founding districts to a nonprofit corporation. If all of the founding districts, there's 3 of us in total, Paradise Valley Unified School District, Peoria Unified School District, and ourselves, agree to the exact same resolution that you are considering this evening.
okay, with that, invite any questions or comments from board members? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 5-0. Kim. Okay, that awards and recognitions. I think we have a video first, so.
Good evening, President Gregoire, members of the Governing Board, Superintendent Weitenheimer, and special guests. We begin tonight with our Community of Character and Courage recognition. For each of us, there is a time in our lives when we are given an opportunity to help someone in distress. For many, the opportunity proves to be too challenging or too uncomfortable, and we let the opportunity pass. For tonight's Community of Character and Courage honoree, our panel selected a student who didn't let a challenging or uncomfortable situation drive her decision to help a fellow student. Deer Valley sophomore Haley Doris saw a person in need and never hesitated to jump in and help.
Haley was in my class last year. She was in my adaptive PE class, and she was a student aide.
The opportunity that I had with Ms. Shiboltz and the kids was amazing. I just love working with kids. They just make my day, and it's just really fun. I love everything about it.
She was awesome. She was a blessing to have in class. Joshua is another student that I had in my class, and I periodically see Josh throughout the day. Josh has autism. Joshua is unsupervised at all times during his school day. He's very curious and can get distracted and wander off, and so we keep a very close eye on him.
So it was the night before we went to California that my dad and I were at QT just to fill up the gas tank. And then I saw a tall man in his blue pajamas and flip-flops, and his hair looked like he just got out of bed.
Josh's mom explained to me that she was preoccupied. She turned around and he was gone. Josh had gone out of the house in his pajamas, walked down many major streets, crossed street lights, everything, and to get to a QT.
When I was in the car with my dad, he was about to pull out when I saw Joshua running inside. And I said, "Stop the car, Dad, I have to go check this out."
People in the QT were confused. They didn't know what was going on. Josh was confused and getting stressed at that time.
And I walked in, saw him getting hot chocolate, and then I asked him some few questions saying, "Is your mom here? Do you have any money to pay for this?" He said yes, and he left without paying.
Checked around for parents, didn't see anybody there. I think there was a question because he had taken something from the store, so she took him back inside and advocated for him.
And I stopped him. My dad and I actually brought him into the van, and I asked him the directions to his house. He actually gave me the directions to his house like perfectly, and it felt like he lived 2 miles or more away from QT. When we got to his house and dropped him off, his dad was gonna look with in the neighborhood with the flashlight and whatnot. Then he was almost in tears when Joshua came out of the car. And he's like, thank you so much, and I'm so glad you brought him home. And then his mother pulls in tears. The baby in the car is screaming bloody murder. And she couldn't speak, like she was shaking.
When she came in to talk to me the next day, she was still hysterical. She was pacing around the room. She was very upset. It was very traumatizing for their family.
I thought I was doing the right thing, and I did.
So that's the tragedy, is that he was curious, but being out there alone becomes really dangerous for him. If Haley hadn't been there to help Joshua that night, I don't know what would have happened.
Usually I get it wrong or not, but when I see someone, I usually, one, freak out, or two, stay calm and help them. And I just stayed calm and helped them through what's happening.
She just acted like it was no big deal. And I just thought, wow, you have no idea what his mom was saying in her earlier in the day and how upset she was. So I don't think Haley realized the extent of who this was affecting and what could have happened. She just did what she always does. All the paras in the classroom are very excited. We're very happy for Haley.
I'm actually really proud of myself.
We could not be more proud of our Community of Character and Courage honoree, Deer Valley High School's Haley Doris. Haley, I want to point out something. The plaque that you have is from our sponsor, Honor Health, who provided that. And I want to let you know that from Sky Zone Peoria, you are receiving a check for $100 that you can put towards any charitable organization of your choice to pay it forward and expand our community of character and courage. Tonight, we are also celebrating our Arizona Fall Sports Champions. These 4 DVUSD athletes are the best in their sport in the state of Arizona. They are here tonight supported by their coaches, family, friends, and in some cases, teammates. First up, Sandra Day O'Connor Jr., Jesselyn Breeze fought off a group of 5 runners behind her, all from the same high school, and she fought them off brilliantly. It doesn't seem fair, right? She finished her race at the state championships with a time of 18 minutes, 3 seconds, one of her best times this season, and 27 seconds faster than the second place finisher. Congratulations, Division I Girls Cross Country State Champion from Sandra Day O'Connor Jr., Jesselyn Breeze. And we invite Jesselyn's family to come up for the photo. Next up, Boulder Creek High School junior Claire Grover, who is the girls swim state champion in the 50-yard freestyle and 100-yard breaststroke. You may remember Claire was the state swim champion last year in the 50-yard freestyle. She set multiple records this year. She was also selected as the Division I Female Swimmer of the Year and is a finalist for Arizona Girls Swimming Athlete of the Year from AZ Central. Congratulations to girls swim state champion from Boulder Creek High School, Claire Grover. Unfortunately, Claire could not be here tonight, but we will make sure she receives her certificate and pin. Next, we head to the links with senior Sandra Day O'Connor golfer Noah Robinson, who finished at 9 under par 133 to win the state title. Noah put himself in a position to play for the individual title, opening with a 66. But with 12 players in the 60s in the opening round, it was far from a foregone conclusion that Noah would finish on top. In his second round, he offset a bogey on the second hole with 5 birdies, following his team's motto this year, to stay in the moment. He did just that and clinched the state championship individual title by 3 strokes. Congratulations, boys state golf champion, Sandra Day O'Connor's Noah Robinson. And we invite Noah's family up for the picture. And now we head to the badminton court, where Mountain Ridge senior Mackenzie Witten swung her way to the Division I state championship. As a freshman, Mackenzie never would have pictured herself celebrating the final shot of her championship game after she begrudgingly started badminton, mainly because her mother insisted she played something before softball season started. But through her hard work and competitive nature, she developed into a top player. Mackenzie is the first West Valley state champion since 2008 and the first ever in the big school division. And she's a finalist for the Arizona Central Arizona Athlete of the Year. Congratulations, Mountain Ridge senior and singles badminton state champion, Mackenzie Witten. And we invite Mackenzie's family up for a photo. The Arizona Interscholastic Swimming and Diving Coaches Association honored Boulder Creek High School's Scott Newell as Coach of the Year. Scott has been the swim and dive coach at Boulder Creek for the past 6 years. He loves seeing the growth swimmers go through when they learn new techniques, as well as crafting a winning relay. Watching his students perform to the best of their abilities and being successful makes all the time and effort worthwhile. Many of his swimmers have earned regional, state, and national honors. When he isn't coaching at BCHS, Scott serves as the aquatics coach for the Community Center in Anthem, where the number of kids in the Dolphin Swim program has tripled in his time there. Congratulations to AIA Swimming and Diving Coaches Association's Coach of the Year, Scott Newell. No, it's not an option.
Thank you for your service.
For the second year in a row, Deer Valley High School football standout Joey Ramos has been invited to attend the U.S. Army National Combine at the Army All-American Bowl in San Antonio, Texas in January. This year, he'll be joined by a teammate, Brandon McCray. The duo wear 75 and 76 and are a true force on the field. Brandon and Joey will join the nation's top high school football underclassmen for this honored tradition. Being invited to this combine recognizes these young men as two of the top players in the country for their graduating class. The U.S. Army National Combine boasts an impressive list of alumni featuring several current and NFL players, including Arizona Cardinals' own Patrick Peterson. Congratulations to the Deer Valley High School football standouts and U.S. Army National Combine invitees, Brandon McCray and Joey Ramos. We invite their families up to join them in the photo. Can you go any lower? Tonight, we celebrate a DVUSD teacher and the renewal of her National Board Certification. National Board Certification is an advanced teaching credential. This rigorous peer-reviewed process ensures the board-certified teachers have proven skills to impact learning and advance student achievement. Board-certified teachers are invaluable to Deer Valley as mentors to their colleagues and for their ability to provide guiding input for curricular decisions. Recently, Stetson Hills teacher Vicki Mead received her National Board Certification renewal. Vicki has been with the district for 15 years and was originally certified in 2007. Her renewal gives her certification for another 10 years. Congratulations, Board Certified Teacher from Stetson Hills, Vicki Mead. Mr. Gregoire, please come to the podium.
Okay, as you know, we're going to have a turnover in the school board, and a couple of us are retiring, but I just want to recognize Mr. Bear. He's been here 12 years. He's been like a brother to me, and tell you what, some of us out there may not appreciate what Ron has done all these years, but I tell you what, we've gone through some battles, and I couldn't ask for a better guy beside me to do it. So Ron, for all you've done here, we really appreciate it, and come Come and get your apple, buddy.
Years, Mike, and you give me an apple, that's it?
And Mr. Gregoire, don't go far. This district owes you a debt of gratitude as well for your service to our children, to our staff, and to our community. We thank you for your service, and you too get an apple. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I filed a yellow slip because I'm speaking now as a member of the public and not as a member of the board. And the reason I did that is because I can speak more freely without violating any open meeting laws. And so, anyway, you guys can sit down if you want. You guys tolerated me for a lot of years, but I just want to really, it's not really about me, it's about you guys. And actually, it's more about somebody who's tolerated me for 25 years. So I'd like to recognize Candy, my wife, who's, you thought you guys had it bad. Stand up, Candy. Anyway, I know this is unorthodox, but I kind of want, you know, I never had a job and I never had a quitting story, so I'm going to kind of lay it out on you tonight. All I really want is just to, it's all about you guys and what you've done for our kids. And if you would allow me just to go and give you guys a handshake on the way out, because I'm done here, but I just want to thank everybody that works for this district for doing what they do. It's all about you guys. Again, we're just up there agreeing or disagreeing, but you guys are actually doing the pedal to the metal. So thank you so much, and give me just a minute here to thank everybody. So you guys, so thank you. Sorry, I'm taking too long here. Thank you guys. Good luck. God bless. Awesome. Ron, you got
Okay, so all of you folks that were here for awards, you can get on out of here. Now is the time to make a run for the border. So.
I do have a great story of my oldest child graduated from ASU last night. And I didn't make it. He was the closing speaker. So we were at Gammage, and it was good.
I think so.
All right, I think the next thing is board reports, right?
It was one of those problems.
Is that right? Okay. I'm going to go first. I only got a couple things to say. 12 years. 12 years, and I get an apple. Well, I didn't run for this position for an apple, first of all. But thank you. I've said on many, many occasions that the problem with the public education system is not the students, it's not the parents, it's not the teachers, and most of the time it's not even the principals. It's the bureaucracy from there on up, including U.S. Department of Education, that runs public education. Maybe that'll change with this election. Time will tell. To my board members, fellow board members that I'm leaving, I have something to say, and that is you were elected by the voters of this school district to represent the voters of this school district, not to represent the superintendent, and I hope you all take that to heart. One last thing I'd like to say to the administration here. We teach, I think we still teach, the 6 pillars of character in our schools to the children. Hopefully the adults in the school district will live up to these same principles. And on that note, I'm going to head out. You're up.
Hands up.
Thank you, Mr. Bear, and good luck, and have a nice evening. Mrs. Fisher, do you have a board report?
No.
Mrs. Ordway?
Yeah, I just wanted to make note of the extra time that the students, parents, and staff has put in for all of the preparation for the finals, for the holiday concerts, dances, plays, whatever skits you're doing from pre-K to 12. I've had a sampling and they've been fabulous. So even though we are ending this semester, we're going to be beginning another year, and I'm really looking forward to a beautiful new year with a lot of great things happening. So thank you for everything first semester. And thanks for staying for the rest of the meeting since it seems to be popular to leave. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to thank, well, she stepped out for a moment, but the other ladies are here. Thank the Deer Valley Education Association, a couple of us board members, and one of our new board members got to attend an event last evening that was beginning to the start of a discussion of how to work forward and how to improve public education in not just our district, but hopefully in the entire state. So thank you for that opportunity. I hope that everybody is able to get through this last week and a half. You know, we're right up to Christmas or the holiday break. I apologize, and I hope everybody has a great holiday. Next on the agenda is the superintendent report.
Thank you, Ms. O'Brien. Just 2 quick things from me. At your place, you'll find a sheet of paper that describes Read to the Final for Arizona. And I just want to give you a really quick update. We have 3rd graders across this district, probably in excess of 95% of our 3rd graders participating in this statewide reading challenge. And as of December the 12th, our 3rd graders logged 1,603 hours of reading, and they finished 6,356 digital books. So we celebrate and we encourage our 3rd graders to continue doing a great job with this. It doesn't even officially begin until January the 4th. They just got to jump on things. So wanted to give you a little bit of information about that. And then second, I do want to call to our public's attention, call to our board's attention. We have a board member, Ann Ordway, who has finished a pretty remarkable board development award level called the 3rd Cluster. It's in excess of 220 hours of professional training on boardsmanship, and that is an honor that is not shared by many people. So, Ms. Ordway, congratulations.
Thank you.
And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Mrs. Galligan, or Dr. Galligan, sorry.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Weitenheimer, and guests. In our report this evening, Jamie Fitzpatrick, manager of CTE and our resident computer science expert, and I will share with you the process we and our stakeholders have participated in over the past 9 months to determine how best to integrate computer science learning experiences for all students at all levels to meet the demands of the current and future workplace. Over the past year, we noticed a groundswell of energy, commitment, and momentum for computer science teaching, learning, and leading at some of our schools, from elementary to high school. Having watched trends come and go in other disciplines, we see this as an unprecedented opportunity to establish norms for computer science education for all. So it is essential to define what quality computer science education looks like, share ways to measure it, and develop a common language to communicate about it. This committee came together to give input on our current and future implementation of computer science education in Deer Valley. The scope of work for this committee, although centered on computer science education, has implications for teacher certification, expanding options available for students to begin receiving computer science learning experiences as young as preschool, creating a computer science progression of learning, professional learning for teachers, and funding for computer science professional learning equipment and course implementation. We are extremely grateful to the participants of the committee who graciously volunteers their time and honest input and feedback. The stakeholder groups represented on the committee can be seen here, and there is a vast number of members in this committee.
Committee work commenced in April 2016 with President Gregoire's welcome and members sharing their backgrounds and expertise to build community and capacity. A thorough analysis of existing computer science and related offerings and programs in DVUSD was explored. The work and research conducted by national organizations was examined to draft an operational definition of computational thinking and a framework for computer science education in DVUSD. Subgroups formed to conduct further research on computer science education models in comparable districts. Our fall work focused on refining our documented framework, exploring opportunities and curriculum models, and drilling down parameters. Computer science organizations from the education community shared their program models through discussions and hands-on presentations. Further discussions centered around potential quality examples for grade bands across the district. In alignment with the K-12 CS framework to be introduced later in this presentation, the committee outlined content parameters and potential evidence of exemplar programs or gold standards. As committee work progressed, stakeholders identified the above big ideas as the driving forces in directing future work. From our research, we know exposure to computer science often spurs an interest in the subject, particularly among historically underrepresented groups, females, African Americans, and Latinos. Girls who take AP Computer Science in high school are 10 times more likely to major in computer science in college. Additionally, African American and Latino students who take this course in high school are over 7 times more likely to major in this field. Focus area subgroups researched and shared ideas, models, and progressions of learning from across districts in Arizona and the United States. On this slide, you can see findings and prominent themes throughout grade levels. District considerations were also researched by our subgroups. Ms. Christy Bushnell conducted comprehensive investigation of CS teacher certification and endorsement options in Arizona and many other states. This information is a great resource as we tackle the challenge of recruiting and growing qualified computer science teachers. Curriculum department implementation plans, IT infrastructure, and sources of potential funding were also explored.
The K-12 computer science framework comes at a time when our nation's education systems are adapting to the 21st century vision of students who are not just computer users, but also computationally literate creators who are proficient in the concepts and practices of computer science. States, districts, and organizations can use the framework to inform the development of standards and curriculum, build capacity for teaching computer science, and implement computer science pathways. The framework is designed to guide computer science from a subject for the fortunate few to an opportunity for all. This committee pulled from many resources and have developed our own Deer Valley Unified School District Computer Science Framework. There is a short video that is going to show right now.
For a long time, we've shown students how to use different technologies. We haven't shown them what goes on behind the scenes, the problem solving, the critical thinking, the programming even.
And right now in our nation, there is no clear definition of what is computer science, let alone what K-12 computer science is. The K-12 computer science framework is set up to answer that question.
The computer science framework, it identifies concepts and practices.
You have a concept where it's something that a kid should know or understand, and then you have a practice, what their action is going to be around that. You put them together, and they can help us create some really outstanding experiences for kids with computing.
Students learn best when the concepts or the knowledge that we hope they acquire is accompanied by hands-on activity, group work, collaboration with their peers, and communication with each other.
So this isn't just about teaching coding language. This is really about critical thinking skills that all of our kids need.
Students are walking away from this with more than a set of technical skills, but also some perspective or some questions on what computing is like as a discipline and how it might be affecting their lives.
That's cool. And we want to make sure that students of color and that women and students who may have special needs are not left out when we're talking about computer science.
We have to be able to train a diverse set of teachers, and then we have to open up computer science topics to make them as relevant to every student, regardless of their race, culture, gender, ethnicity, you name it.
Education's hard work. And the K-12 CS Education Framework has brought together a group of writers and advisors and leaders who not only have experience with computing and computer science, but with education.
The important part of a framework is for the community to say, this is the knowledge that everyone ought to have. It's up to the states, the districts to figure out how do we structure that? Where does it go into the curriculum? What should teachers actually be doing?
And so by having that foundation, we can then develop standards which will guide instructional resources and professional learning experiences, and which will eventually impact policies at the state level.
Because finally we are codifying for states and for policymakers and curriculum writers the values that make computer science exciting, engaging, and a literacy for the 21st century.
Because computer science is an active and applied field of science, technology, engineering, and math, otherwise known as STEM, learning that allows students to engage in hands-on, real-world interaction with key math, science, and engineering principles. It gives students opportunities to be creators, not just consumers, in the digital economy, and to be active citizens in our technology-driven world. Computer science can also foster computational thinking skills that are relevant to many disciplines and careers, such as breaking a large problem into smaller ones, recognizing how new problems relate to problems already solved, setting aside details of a problem that are less important, and identifying and refining the steps needed to reach a solution. Computer Science for All is a bold initiative to empower all American students from kindergarten through high school to learn computer science and be equipped with computational thinking skills. They need to be creators in the digital economy, not just consumers, as has been mentioned, and to be active citizens in our technology world. Our economy is rapidly shifting, and both educators and business leaders are increasingly recognizing that computer science is the new basic skill necessary for economic opportunity and social mobility. The Deer Valley Computer Science Committee adopted the ISTE definition for computational thinking, and together, the DVUSD Computer Science Education Framework and Computational Thinking definition provide a roadmap for our district as we determine how best to navigate.
In alignment with the K-12 CS framework, pre-K2 exposure to computer science will consist of both plugged, use of a device, and unplugged, non-device activities to foster development of digital citizenship and computational thinking in our youngest learners. Ease of delivery, training for teachers, and time built into the school day were of high importance as outlined here. Priorities at the 3 through 5 level include a need for dedicated CS specials and developed curriculum aligned to the framework. Extracurricular opportunities and access to makerspaces were also identified needs within this grade band. At the 6-8 or middle level, computer science and coding become naturally embedded in core content areas while also offering dedicated CS exploratories or a coding focus in STEM courses. Students in grades 6 through 8 build their leadership skills as STEM advocates and technology TAs, hone their skills in competitions, and demonstrate ability to network with business partners. The Exploring Computer Science curriculum, an open educational resource used across many states, will become available to campuses as a middle school course guide offering for implementation as early as fall 2017. Overall budgetary needs for implementation at the 6-8 level as well as earlier grades will be determined this spring. At the high school level, students will continue to apply skills across content areas. CTE computer science career preparation pathways currently exist at 2 Deer Valley high schools as well as at Westmeck's START campus. The startup budget for the DVHS Project Lead the Way CS program this fall was approximately $75,000, including purchase of a new lab, teacher training, participation fees, and creation of a virtual desktop environment. DVUSD will have computer science course sequences available at all 5 high schools in future school years. Considerations in offering the highest quality programs include industry credentialing, successful AP exam completion, internship opportunities, and specialized capstone courses in fields such as cybersecurity or networking. Early 2014 House Bill 2265 provisions amending sections 15701.01 allow school boards to approve rigorous computer science courses to fulfill math requirements. High school students are required to take 4 credits of mathematics. The provision also requires the Arizona Board of Regents to accept those computer science classes as math credits when considering students for admission to universities.
The bullets you see here encompass those areas we as a committee feel are most important to address as we move forward over the next 3 years. For example, we know learning computer science in short bursts is not nearly as effective as having computer science as part of the student's continuous curriculum through grade levels, and we believe our schools are the place we can ensure that all students from all walks of life have a chance to learn computer science. An area that will be important to ensure is the development of comprehensive instructional materials. Like other subjects, and in many cases even more so, students entering computer science courses typically bring with them vastly different backgrounds and levels of experience. A variety of instructional resources will support our schools and teachers in making decisions about how to best meet the needs of their computer science students. We know that well-designed instructional materials not only help students learn, but also help teachers improve their practice. Instructional materials will support more specific job-embedded teacher professional development and provide teachers with assessment tools that can inform their teaching on a daily basis. The committee also identified top challenges facing Deer Valley as we move to ensure all students have access to computer science education. Deer Valley will need to come to agreement on what is worth knowing in computer science and when it should be learned in a student's academic career. We know that we will return to you to review possible policies that enable our schools to prioritize computer science coursework so that all students have access to quality computer science education. This will occur with careful consideration of other student learning requirements and student schedules, as well as paying careful attention to the change management issue that will arise within schools as a result of computer science implementation. The committee will develop a written communication plan to ensure what you see on this slide. We know we will need to communicate consistently, frequently, and through multiple channels, including speaking, writing, video, training, focus groups, bulletin boards, intranets, and more about computer science education expanding in all Deer Valley schools. These bullets provide a few of the areas already identified as communication considerations by the committee.
During the week of December 5th through 11th, all Deer Valley schools were invited to participate in Computer Science Education Week by bringing an hour of code to their classrooms. Staff were encouraged to tweet and post photos using the hashtag #WeCode at DVUSD. These photos show the excitement early in the week at Terramar and Hillcrest Middle School. The learner engagement continued throughout the week at Legend Springs, Boulder Creek, Sandra Day O'Connor, Mirage, Canyon Springs, Deer Valley High, and more schools. Media Center specialists provided after-hours opportunities and were joined by business professionals to work with the students. Efforts of the Communications and Community Engagement Department through promotion in Deer Valley Voice and social media, as well as IS&T in donating raffle prizes for participating classrooms, were greatly appreciated in making this campaign a success.
Some statistics to provide impetus for this committee's work include over 500,000 computing jobs currently unfilled in the United States. Only 42,000, just under 43,000 computer science students graduated from the U.S. universities into the workforce last year. If steps are not taken, we've been told, to close this skills gap, it'll only grow. Between 2016 and 2020, the U.S. projects there will be 960,000 job openings, and if current graduation patterns continue, only 344,000 graduates will fill them. Only 1 out of 4 K-12 schools teach any computer science, leaving 75% of students today without the opportunity to develop skills that could help them thrive in the future. Parents and teachers want computer science in K-12 classrooms. A Google Gallup survey found that 9 out of 10 parents say they want computer science taught in their schools, and the majority of parents and teachers believe it should be a required learning for 21st century students. Exposure to computer science at a young age has the potential to address the diversity gap in computer science fields. Girls who take AP Computer Science in high school, again, are much more likely to major in a computer science in college. It is our vision that all DVUSD students will possess computer science skills so that when they graduate from Deer Valley, they can compete in a global and technology economy. Thank you.
Any, Mrs. Ordway, questions?
I have questions. I'm not sure which 9 out of 10 parents they spoke to, but I would think that 9 out of 10 parents I could talk to don't know what computer science is, so I think that might be just a thing. So at this point, we only have, and they're great, we only have a few STEM campuses, K8, K8. We don't have any K6 STEM campuses, do we?
Ms. Ordway, we have 2 schools who have the name STEM attached to them. We have a multiple of schools who are participating in the Arizona STEM League. And
okay,
so we
are
have
any of them
multiple
K6s?
schools.
Okay. So for those that aren't, I just wonder how we would catch them up to where some might already be. And then how do we, I know I'm asking a lot of questions. I don't expect all the answers right now. It's just going through my head. How do teachers that don't know what coding is, how do they get to do that in their classroom if they're not familiar with it?
Ms. Ordway, those are all questions that we have asked ourselves in that committee. There are many organizations, code.org being one, that are easily implemented into a short period of time during the day. What we've heard, though, from our principals and our teachers who are on the committee who represent elementary is that they feel, as you've just kind of alluded to, it would be much easier for a dedicated teacher, such as a specials teacher, to be able to take on that task. Although we have multiple schools that already have integrated computer science, and that's just a fancy name for the buzzword, which is coding.
Right. So, but the goal that we're going to is that this would be embedded as part of. So if you had a specific class for it, then it wouldn't necessarily transfer into the classroom that way?
Ms. Ordway, we don't know how it's going to end up. We
Okay.
know that it's going to be a struggle for some of our campuses, but for others, we had to wrap our arms around it because they were running so much faster than we were around this topic.
Okay. And then what kind of conversations are we having with the learning institutions, whether it be a university or something that is just a computer science school after high school? Are we having conversations with them so we know that we're on track with what we're preparing for as we try to get that continuum from pre-K to 12?
I will say, Ms. Ordway, that our universities are probably not pushing computer science as much as we would want. The State Department of Education, ADE, also hasn't yet come out officially on what their stance is on computer science. In addition, the certification requirements for computer science will make it difficult to easily have computer science in a middle school.
So then what are we using to gauge what we're teaching now to make sure that it is sufficient and appropriate for our kids to learn these tasks? What are we putting that against if we don't have a university?
Ms. Ordway, many of the campuses that have dipped their toes into computer science are really dipping their toes in with code.org. And code.org has been recognized nationwide as one of the best organizations to partner with in moving forward with computer science. As far as high school is concerned, our CTE programs are completely vetted for computer science, and Project Lead the Way is one of the best organizations for STEM programming.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I need to ask somebody.
No problem. Mrs. Fisher, do you have any questions for this report? Thank you. Okay, Dr. Smith, it's your turn.
Thank you. Mrs. Ordway, O'Brien, and Fisher, it's my pleasure tonight to give you a brief report on the Gallup Student Poll and the results we had this year. As you know, we've given the Gallup Student Poll for several years. I believe this was our 7th administration of the poll. However, if you also remember from last year's presentation, they changed a good deal of the poll last year, so we're kind of like in the 2nd year of this new administration of the Gallup Student Poll. Still assessing student perceptions around hope and engagement, and now the other 2 new dimensions as of last year are financial literacy and entrepreneurial aspiration. I'll talk a little bit about more of those 2 components in a bit and try to figure out what we can do with that information. Here are the items that are asked on the Gallup Student Poll, the 7 items for hope. And then out at the bottom you'll see that they combine these items and the answers to the items at Gallup form an index of hope and whether the kids are hopeful or not based on their responses to these 7 items. Similarly, there's now 9 items for the component of engagement, which is trying to measure the involvement in and enthusiasm for school. These 9 items are also combined into an index for kind of measuring is the student engaged or not, and we'll look at the actual results of those 2 things in just a minute. The other 2 dimensions that I mentioned were entrepreneurial aspiration and career or financial literacy. Each of them have 4 items. Quite honestly, I have not, and we as a district have not delved into these items and the value of them, and that's one of the next steps for me going forward. Is I will probably spend some time more with the people at Gallup or on the Gallup site to understand how are they using these and looking at these so that we can use them more for our district too, or see if they are useful and meaningful for us as a district. The polling period this year was through the month of October, started at the end of September through October 28th, Monday through Friday each week. It's an online poll, obviously, and this is by far the highest participation rate we've had with the district. We had 95.1% of our 5th through 12th graders complete the poll, so I thank you and a shout out to all of our schools for really jumping on this and getting their students through the poll. And of course, again, I just want to remind you the poll is free of charge by Gallup. They committed to 10 years worth of administering this poll with no charge to districts. So here are the results. Here's the response rate that I just talked about. That black bar at the top, that's the district average response rate. And you can see the red bar is last year's response rate as a district average. So you can see the nice jump from just over 89% to 95% on our overall participation. Now I'm going to give you 2 years worth of data for the dimensions and for the items underneath those dimensions. Here's hope. We can see that it's broken down into hopeful, stuck, or discouraged. That's how the index breaks down. And you can see our percent of kids that are hopeful dropped by a little bit over the last year. Just a reminder, because we had this question last year, Gallup does not report benchmark numbers or national numbers for either hope or engagement, just because it's not a random sample of schools and school districts that are participating in this poll. Here's the results for engagement, and you can see also that there's a slight drop from 48% of our kids to 47% district-wide, indicating engaged versus not engaged or actively disengaged. And of course, there's many more. There's results for these 2 indices for every school and at grade levels, and it's out there on there's data out on the portal that schools and even you can access to look at more detail on these dimensions. Here are the engagement and hope grand mean by grade level year over year. So going from 2015 to 2016. And quite honestly, I show these just to show there's very little change for any of these dimensions. Here they are for entrepreneurial aspiration and financial literacy. You can see probably if there's anything meaningful here, and it might be one of the questions I want to answer as I delve into entrepreneurial aspiration, is there's a little drop there. And as I find out more how Gallup is thinking about that whole component, there might be some more meaning coming out of that information. I show every year this graph because it's a very important piece of data we have for our district. We use several of these questions and items and the indices from the Gallup student poll in our district balance scorecard, and we use this specific single item in our scorecard under our key strategic objective 1.2.2, and you can see how the perception of safety has changed over the last 3 years. Some mixed results and some drop in high school. Now, I can establish a trend with 3 data points, if you will, between high school and K-6. So this is something that we probably want to pay attention to and look at as a district. In terms of next steps, I think we continue to work on students' perception of safety. We do have this included in our district improvement plan. It's a good piece of work for some of the stuff that Dr. Corson is doing in that improvement plan, and we'll get a better jump on it next year and make sure we're working on stuff to impact these numbers and the perceptions that students have. And then, as I've said a couple of times, I really want to get a better understanding of the other 2 dimensions that we haven't paid attention to in the past, entrepreneurial aspiration and financial literacy. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Are there any questions? Mrs. Fisher?
When we're looking at the safety, do we have this drilled down to like the aspects of safety, physical safety, emotional safety, that type of, do we have it drilled down?
Ms. Fisher, no, and because we don't have control of any of the questions or any of the items on this poll, so it's specific. Just ask, ask the kids to agree or disagree to the statement. I feel safe at this school. I do break it down for example, in the employee survey where I can distinguish physical safety from emotional safety and things like that. So, but I don't have any control over these questions and can't drill down.
Are our employee results comparable at all?
Ms. Fisher, I off the top of my head, I can't tell, but I don't think so. But I can certainly get that data and show kind of the trend for those results versus these student results. There's a couple of dynamics going on here, possibly also. This is during the month coming up to the election. I don't know from 5th grade to 12th grade, kind of where kids' heads are with that election, but people have proposed that maybe that's some of the things going on here. So it's always good to acknowledge the environment that we have right before the polling period, not as an excuse though, but it's just kind of better understanding of the numbers that we're getting.
Yeah, because I noticed, it did drop significant for this year comparatively, but if at some point they do decide to give data where it's more split out, that I just think that would be beneficial, because physical safety versus emotional safety, a kid can feel perfectly safe physically. They're not afraid anything's going to happen to them. No one's going to shoot them. No one's going to break into the school. But they could also feel not emotionally safe, and that would be, to me, a significant concern. Thank you.
Mrs. Ordway? I have one to follow up on Mrs. Fisher. So can you verify, there's more than one question determining the safety poll, or is it's just one, I feel safe, or I agree or don't agree?
Ms. O'Brien, on this poll, there's just this one question.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Miglerino, your turn.
Thank you. Members of the board, Dr. Weitenheimer, we have our standard reports to share with you for the month of November, starting with the student enrollment report through the first day of December, or the 75th day of school. As has continued through this year, we're showing a decrease in students, a slight increase in the decrease from last year, 324 students comparing last year to this year, just under 34,000 students on the current report that we're showing for you. It's about a 1% reduction. And I'd happy to answer any questions regarding the student enrollment report before I continue.
Any questions?
In regards to the November district financials, I just wanted to point out on the M&O report, we are trending in a good way. So month over month, last year we were projecting carry forward of $415,000. This report showing $445,000. And putting that into context with last year, so year over year, we were at just under $250,000. So having a little better year than relative to last year, but I would give you some cautionary words here that we think that, especially with some of the changing dynamics with the staffing needs that we're experiencing, that will not trend in the same way the second half of the year is my prediction. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any question regarding the financial reports.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Miglorino. Mrs. Moffett?
Good evening, governing board members and Dr. Weitenheimer. Tonight I'm presenting to you the December staffing update. This will be likely the final version that you'll see in this format because we go into staffing cycle the second half of the year beginning in January. So we are still currently 98.4% staffed, and you're going to see down below that we still have these three areas, and there is only one change with these three areas since the last month I made my report, and that would be that we did add a 0.5 vacancy to the special education area. So we still are struggling to fill math, and we have 2 vacancies there. We are happy, though, that they are being covered successfully, not a lot of turnover in the coverage, and we have 13.5 special education positions right now, and we still do have the need for 3 school nurses. On a positive note, we have recruited a total of 15 of our own student teachers who will be filling these vacancies beginning in January, some of these vacancies beginning in January. So as I go through my report, you're going to see that some of these FTEs have been filled, some of the vacancies have been filled, some of them have not yet, the postings have not yet come down. So that will be shared with you in January. Additionally, we did have our student teacher recruitment, we call it Recruit and Connect this morning, and it was successful. We had a panel speaking to all of our student teachers, and we even had a teacher that is active in another district right now that is very eager to be employed in Deer Valley attend that this morning. We offered some letters of intent and have scheduled future interviews, and also encouraged them to attend our job fair coming up in the spring. K-6 positions, you'll see that we did reduce the FTE on K-6 campuses. We no longer have any K-3 postings, no 4-6 postings. We do still have special education postings, and we've reduced our specialized need from 4 down to 2. So we have a total of 4.9 FTE still to fill at the K-6 campuses. At K-8 campuses, we also reduced at this level. No longer do we have K-3 vacancies, 4-6 vacancies. We are still have that 1 math position that you'll see at the 7th and 8th level. We still have the 3 special education vacancies that we need to fill, and we have now 3 different positions. And remember, positions don't always equate 1.0. Some of these are partial FTEs. So we have a total of 6.2 right now at the K-8 campuses. Middle school postings, this was an area that we were flat in for 2 months, but we filled one of them. So we're from 4 FTE down to 3 FTE, none in the core areas, 3 in special education, and we did fill the exploratory support position. At the high school level, we did have some resignations here, so you'll see that we did increase our FTE at the high school over the last month. We still have 2 science vacancies. We actually have 1 math vacancy as well, 1 math, 1 science, no ELA or history. We still have 3 special education positions that we need to fill, and we now have 2 different areas of support that we need to fill. They're not on the foreign language side. As a comparison to last year, at the 15-16 school year when I did my report in December, we had 17.5 FTE to fill, and at this year we are 20.6 FTE still yet to fill at this point in time. Upcoming timelines for points of interest. In January, we will begin our staffing meetings with our campuses. Those will begin the Thursday we return from the holiday break. We are scheduled to begin our staffing processes outlined in the certified manual, where we post positions and internal candidates can begin to apply for those positions. That will begin February 13th. And then if we follow that timeline and it works out as scheduled at this time, that would mean that likely positions that are not filled internally could be posted to the outside either by the last week of February, but most likely by the first week of March. Another point of interest for you coming up in February. By February 14th, the superintendent, per policy CBA, will recommend a list to the governing board of current employees who are being recommended for renewal in two categories. One is administrative exempt, and the other category would be certified. And again, that practice is outlined in policy CBA. We do also anticipate to follow our timelines from last year, and should the governing board make that approval, we would be able to issue contracts sometime in March. And they do have 15 working days to take a look at those proposals, their contract proposals, and sign those after that date that we issue those contracts, which of course, as you know, is very helpful to us in knowing what we need as staff in the spring coming up into the next year. And I'll take questions.
Questions?
I have a question. When you're talking about the February for the administrative staff, whom exactly is included in that?
Administrative and exempt, so that would be any position that falls into either of those categories. That's building level administration and district level administration.
So that would be the administrators themselves as well as their secretaries, or how does that work?
The secretaries at the campus level are not exempt employees. They are classified employees, so they would not be included on that list.
Okay, I was just checking, but at the district office level, that they would be exempt.
That list will be included, yes.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Kind of off similar to what Ms. Ordway's questioning. Last year, it's always been my belief that all contracts, the districts I've been in, all contracts must go before the board every year. Last year there was some angst because it was split in groups. So one group went, the other group didn't come until later. Is there any way to do it all together so that they're, or at least communicate with the various groups so that there's not an uncertainty for any group that they're being singled out? Or it was just a concern that was brought to my attention by the first group and the second group. The uncertainty, on one end it was, are we being picked on, and on the other end it was, are we not being considered? So is there a way we can do it this year to maybe honor all employee groups at the same time, or I don't know.
Ms. Fisher, are you speaking to the contracts themselves or the list of renewals?
Just the approval, the renewals. I know the contracts come out. I just got my contract for the second time this year last week. So I mean, I know those things occur later, but we all went before the board at the same time. I would just like to see it either communicated or all together so that no one is uncertain or feels separated.
And point taken, and we can plan to provide both the administrative and the certified lists at the same time. The classified list typically comes later, so we can communicate in advance when that will be coming out so they don't feel like they are left out.
Communication would be fine. Just I don't want them to feel like they're not being considered, or the first two feeling like they're being singled out.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Moffitt. On to consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items 8A through I-13.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the human resource changes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the human resource changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public comment.
Public comments, could you?
You want me to read?
We have one public comment. Can we have
The board invites the public to comment on the district's business in general and on any agenda item in specific. All speakers must observe the rules of decorum. Speakers must fill out a card listing name, address, and topic handed to the board secretary prior to the president calling the meeting to order. Speakers must make their comments in no more than 3 minutes if necessary to accommodate all speakers within that 30-minute overall limit. The board president may shorten each speaker's time. Constructive criticism is in order. Rudeness, vulgarity, disruptive conduct, or remarks disrespecting personal dignity are not in order and will not be allowed. Under the Arizona open meeting law, the governing board cannot discuss or act on any items that are not listed on the agenda. Board members may respond to criticism made by a speaker, ask staff to review a matter, or ask that a matter be put on a future agenda.
Ms. Maria Leyva?
Even though the people to whom I was going to speak are not here, I still would like it on public record. So, governing board members, Superintendent Weitenheimer, and guests, President Gregoire and Vice President Baer, the Deer Valley Education Association would like to thank both of them on behalf of the certified employees for their service on the Deer Valley Governing Board. For many years, they have served the community and employees of Deer Valley faithfully and helped navigate the district through some good and rough times. We hope that they will continue to advocate for traditional public school students and districts, and we wish them the very best in the future. Thank you. In absentia.
Thank you for your comments. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:17.